So with that, Hubert Roberts is our featured speaker tonight. And Hubert is a mentor in town and a minister and just very, very involved in the community and in educating us all about African American heritage. And I've learned so much from him, and this is a topic I'm very interested in as I think about white power and privilege. So with that, Hubert Roberts, and it sounds like he's actually going to make us do a little work tonight.
Oh yes, it's so important that we work.
So be prepared.
Glad to see everybody today. Okay guys, listen. First of all, Walt Whitman said, God speaks to us in our imagination. Think about that. God speaks to us in our imagination. So if God does that in our imagination, what is the devil doing? Y'all got to get that. What is the devil doing to us? So we got to be mindful about that. First of all, I want to start off. Thank you for coming. I want to honor to Dr. Ganges. I do believe that our ancestors live within us, and the whole reason that we are here today is because of those that came before us. One thing that we're really working to do with this Ndagi talk is really start teaching us how we can start removing a lot of things that we have been taught from little kids. All of us have been taught lies most of our life. Santa Claus, fairy godmother, the tooth fairy. Most of all of us have been, and I'm not saying that our people or our grandparents or anybody was wrong from what they were teaching us, but what I want you guys to wrap your mind around, because of Michelle Alexander's book and what she talks about with the new Jim Crow in an age of color blindness, for us to start stepping outside of ourselves, which is so important, guys. We got to step outside of ourselves for us to save ourselves, because since 1945, we are the only human beings on the planet that has been living with the fear of nuclear war. Ancient Kemet, 4,000 years ago, the Aztec people, we were talking about a lot of people for thousands of years, guys. I'm talking about for thousands of years. All different kind of cultures, guys, all over the world. People had higher judicial systems, and I mean, they were just doing things, guys. And we talk about America. America's still a baby. America's still a baby, man. And y'all talk about in the time frame that we're in. And we only here for a second, so we gotta get it. And we can't get it because we need all of us on board. Why I'm bringing this out is because the mirror, but Africans call it the mirror, but for the sake of this conversation, the pyramid. To this day, they still don't realize or they don't understand how this was possibly able to be developed or created. Now, if you think about it, guys, we talk about people and how people have a tendency to be biased and prejudiced towards each other. I can be prejudiced because I may like red or white paper, and that's what I want to use. And I can be biased because I may like shorts and I don't want to wear long pants. Those are things that we have a tendency to do. Now, racism, when you put power behind that, when you have power to control, I can do whatever I want to you. I can lynch you. I can bring you over to some other country and put you in cages and make you work for me until your death. I can put you on boats and ships. Right now, you guys, the slave trade changed the ocean environment. Y'all get this, man. Where the sharks, they changed their whole ecosystem following the slave ship for hundreds of years. When Christopher Columbus landed in Hispaniola, well, the island of San Domingo and Haiti, in 1492, do y'all know by the 1600s, Latino people, all of the native people on that island were gone? Y'all think about that. And my point that I really want y'all to get this afternoon is, we are more like the atrocities that have happened when you think about the Holocaust, and most people, you guys in your history books, and some of you guys on your own, parents and grandparents, have talked or expressed, they talk about even on PBS and a lot of the History Channel talk about the Holocaust. It lasted 13 years. And when you think about the African Holocaust, when you put it in the context of almost 500 years, again, the lack of information or lack of knowledge, when you are able to have power back to racism, I have the power to control whatever you think and feel. I have the power when you get up in the morning, you are so worried about your life that everything that you do at any time can be taken away. Trayvon Martin walking home from the store. George Zimmerman murdered Trayvon Martin. Anytime you live in a society where the police are being paid by public funded dollars and they are able to discharge their weapons and kill any one of us, black or white, and if it's a wrongful shot, meaning if a person is unarmed, how dare we live in a society that's going to accept anyone to be killed or murdered like that? That is totally unacceptable. It is our fault, black and white. Our white brothers and sisters, that's one thing that I'm really strongly feeling about this. White supremacy, or this concept called America, the country that we live in, we need our white brothers and sisters to help dismantle it. And part of the dismantling is this. How can we be more fair towards and equitable as far as the resources when we talk about tax subsidies? Everything, almost every business in America gets a subsidy. But they're not called welfare. NASCAR gets a subsidy. The oil company gets subsidies. The pharmaceutical companies get subsidies. And then when you think about it, y'all, in 2008, that housing crisis, $60 trillion come up missing. Out of $60 trillion, do you know who it affected the most? It affected African Americans. Do you know African Americans lost a combined almost 240,000 homes at an estimate of several $1 million, instantly gone. And most of you guys understand as far as how important your house is. And if you think about how important your house is as far as your mortgage and being able to be in the middle class and be able to use that money so you can do some things that you would like to do, y'all think about this. 1865, Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, Texas didn't get into 1865. So you got 4 million black people in 1865. Y'all free. Bye. Don't give them nothing. Don't give them no resources. Don't give them anything. Bye. And then got the nerve to give the plantations that the slave masters owned, they gave the plantations back to the slave masters. And then you say, black people, it's your fault. Why are you lazy? Why don't you do it, pull yourself up from your bootstrap? That's why history is so important, y'all. Because all of us in our history books, and most of my white brothers and sisters can attest to this, and even all of us. The history books didn't share slavery. People were enslaved. Pick cotton. Don't say anything about the greatness, all the food contribution, everything. When y'all think about language or anything that's happened in the world, man, black people have been a part of it. And again, until we accept that, until we start embracing that, again, all these divisions, everything that they're doing in the media and all that is designed to destroy all of us. Because when they did a movie, guys, when you can get poor white people to kill, to go to war, y'all, the Civil War, that was a classic movie, y'all. Because most white people didn't own slaves. Did not own slaves. Did not own slaves. But they would go fight and go die for this white privilege or this thing called whiteness that I feel superior over someone else that is black, that they are inferior. That is totally unacceptable. So, you guys got some people on your table that I'm hoping you guys will play along with this. Those of you guys that are not afraid, I'd like for you to stand up and read who you are going to be for just 5 seconds. Let's go, my brother, would you start with you, sir? 5 seconds, that's who you are. Tell us who you are.
Ronald McNair, astronaut.
5 seconds.
Anyway, I was a payload specialist. In my spare time in space, I entertained my colleagues with a jazz concert on my saxophone. A first in space. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I was the first African American in space. That was like the third sentence.
Yes, sir. Thank you. That's who you were for 2 seconds. Somebody else, come on, guys. Don't be afraid. Don't be bashful. Y'all always want to do this when you look. Thank you, man.
All right, I'm taller, that's why I got it. Beat you out by head. I'm Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, and I'm a surgeon. I was a medical pioneer in the later part of the 1800s into first 3 decades of the 1900s. And among other things, I was the first surgeon to perform successful open heart surgery, suturing the heart and pericardium of a stabbing victim. And I was a professor of clinical surgery. I also opened one of the first hospitals, and that hospital served people of all types.
Thank you. Thank you. Somebody else, come on, my brothers and sisters. Let's go.
That's it.
In 1908, I, Jack Johnson, became the first black prize fighter to win the World Heavyweight Championship when I defeated Tommy Burns in Sydney, Missouri. And the outraged white boxing establishment began searching for a great white hope to return the title to a white champion. A lot of challengers got into the ring with me over the next 7 years, but I defeated all of them. My ability to hit hard with either hand, my flawless defense, and my superb balance are, according to some experts, unmatched to this very day. I lost the heavyweight title in 1915 to Jess Willard in Havana, Cuba, but later he wrote that he'd thrown the fight. My career record consists of 107 wins and 6 losses, and I was inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame in 1954.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, I'll speak off the top of my head because I remember this woman and her candidacy well, and it's particularly appropriate that she has been mentioned several times this year. This is Shirley Chisholm. She was a black woman congressman, and she ran for the nomination of the Democratic Party for president. She was particularly genteel, graceful, a wonderful woman, and she was not successful in her bid, but she busted down doors and broke barriers with her candidacy.
Excellent.
My name is Jesse Owens, and I'm a track and field guy. I'm an Olympian. I won 4 gold medals in 1936, and Adolf, he was really pissed off at me. He did not like me at all because I proved that the Aryan race wasn't that good.
Come on, you get somebody else. Come on, guys.
Okay, I am Dr. Patrick Francis Healy, a Roman Catholic bishop. I was one of 5 children born to a transplanted white Irishman and a former slave. By Georgia law, I could have been sold into slavery, and a group of white planters who made that suggestion were run off my dad's property by my father's dogs. I became the first black in the United States to earn a doctoral degree, received numerous medals and commendations, and was the 29th president of the prestigious Georgia University.
Excellent. Excellent.
University? Georgetown. That's it.
Okay, guys, listen to this. Tell me what this is. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, the government are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government become destructive of these ends, it is the right of a people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles of organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. What did I just read from? When the Declaration of Independence was written, class, can you guys be honest and say who was the Declaration of Independence written for, or who did they have in mind? Property owning white men. When we start from that premise, that's why, as we're going to listen to Miss Alexander, now we're going to go into a little something different. I want you guys to listen to Miss Alexander. And why I brought that up is because most of you guys know the reality of this country was taken from people that was already here, first of all. Most of you guys do realize that in the construct of this thing called race is a human construct, so you guys know that. And for some solutions. One thing that we are really focusing on is how we can start talking together and not against each other, because so often it's easy for I hate you, I don't like you. I mean, come on. So what we're working to do, guys, is how we can step out and have conversations. And from those conversations, we're going to start engaging, inviting, and then dealing with people fairly. Meaning, when the General Motors broke up, guys, when the plants broke up, when they started learning back in the 60s that NAFTA and this so-called free trade, which is insane because you can't compete with other people in other countries as far as our income and the way we live in this country is totally different. That was insane, guys, even in this concept. Just go to show you about people supposed to be so intelligent. So, but my point is that General Motors broke up. They knew they were breaking up. And a lot of the factories right now is in Bright and all these small parts factories. Do you know the percentage of people of color that was able to take advantage of the small parts factories that were broken up by all of the automobile companies? Do you guys, anybody have any knowledge? Because back to power. America is a country that when you own and produce or make something, you have value. At one time, black people were valuable. You did not lynch and kill your slave because you could work till the death. No more cotton to pick, so we don't need black people no more. So we live in a country, and the whole concept of the Industrial Revolution. Because when you think about it, guys, when you move resources off of these shores of this United States, meaning shirts, ties, toothbrush, combs, glasses, the simple things this country was built on after World War I, World War II, as far as the awesome power that this country had that was supplying goods for everybody all over the world. This country wasn't holding up when you talk about manufacturing power. So somebody come up with an idea saying, oh man, let's tweak this. Let's outsource and displace all these people because I want all the money. Right now we got 62 people that has more wealth than 3.5 billion people. This has happened never in the history of mankind. Have 62 people on more wealth, y'all. Get this, guys. When we think about how many houses, how many mansions, if you think about it, guys, you got a mobile home, you got a cottage up north, you got a snowmobile, 2 snowmobiles, you got a jet ski, 2 motorcycles, and a house. That's an awful lot of stuff, guys. And you're gonna die. The only point that I'm saying is the pursuit of happiness and enjoying life, all of us should have those opportunities. I'm not saying nobody should be poor. What I'm saying is equity, if you're talking about being equitable or how we can share resources, it shouldn't be that I got all the resources over here and I'm gonna pay you $8.50 an hour. That's insane, guys.